Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite costume club, the 501st Legion. This video is purely here if you're interested on joining the club itself. If you're interested in hearing about the pros and cons of each different Star Wars costume club, I already made a video about that and I'm super grateful because the support on that video has been absolutely awesome so far. These costume clubs have changed my life for the better, but that's not the case for everybody and that's okay. I just want people to be aware of the good and the bad when it comes to joining these clubs. But yeah, if you're interested in joining the costume club, I'm going to set you in the right direction as best as I can. The most important thing that I want you to retain out of this entire video is that you have to understand that joining this club is a big commitment. You can build your costume, you can buy it, you can do a mix of both. But while buying a costume will definitely save you time, it will cost you a lot more money. As someone who's bought and built both of his costumes, there are pros and cons to both. Building your own costume will help you gain skills that you never thought you would have. Plus, it makes maintaining your costumes a lot easier because you're that much more in tune with what you're wearing. Buying your costume will make the process go by a lot quicker. But you aren't really gaining any life skills, and maintaining your costume can be harder because you're not in touch with what you're actually wearing. Another very important piece of this puzzle is before you pursue any of this, make sure you even have a local group. Now, the term local can mean a lot for a lot of different people, but make sure at least that you have a group within a reasonable driving distance that you're comfortable going to events for. Because if you don't have a local group, it can make things a lot harder. Not impossible, but still quite hard. Once you have all of this sorted out, we can start off at step 1. What should be a very simple step is quite often a very complicated one, and that is finding out which costume is meant for you. My best advice for this step is make sure that you choose a costume that you are passionate about. This could be your favorite character, your favorite costume design, if it's like a Stormtrooper or something general. Please make sure that you are passionate about the costume that you are about to pursue. I was an idiot and I started with a costume that I really wasn't that passionate behind and a character that I also really wasn't that passionate behind. I was at Disney World in 2020 and I had seen the Anovos Kylo Ren helmet on display, and while I thought the helmet was absolutely beautiful, I didn't realize what purchasing that helmet would drag me into all these years later. I ended up creating this really high quality costume and then doing Darth Vader shortly after. My experience wearing both costumes, unfortunately, there's not even a close comparison. I'll be real, I enjoyed wearing Darth Vader a lot more. Kids also enjoyed seeing Darth Vader a lot more. Darth Vader has a much better presence, and this is a character that I was excited to bring to life, and I've made a name for doing so. I ended up falling out of interest with Kylo Ren, and I ended up selling it for a character that I was much more passionate about. So once you get past all this, once you find a costume and a character that you're passionate about, make sure that the 501st Legion actually even has an entry for that costume to begin with. Make sure that this is a costume that your body can actually even handle. Look at the materials and look at the comfortability, and make sure that this is something that you'll be able to physically wear. These costumes are incredibly hot and they're very heavy, so make sure that this is something that your body and your health will even allow. Once you have your character and your costume set, your next step will be to gather information on that costume. You have to reach out to your local groups. You have to. Some garrisons have really great support for brand new members. Some of them not so much. Down here in Florida, we have a recruits page where we'll give information as best as we can. Other garrisons, like my previous one in Louisiana, we would literally just add you to a group chat. We would pretty much throw you into the fire before you even became a member. Different groups have different styles and some don't have any support at all. So, like I said, please reach out to your local group and find out what they do. The person you'll really need to get on the same page with is your GML. GML in the 501st Legion is the locally appointed person that is in charge of approving your costume specifically. Some are better than others. It unfortunately literally just varies upon your garrison. Try to get in touch with as many local members as you can, and I pray that they are as receptive and as kind as they have been to me. Not every garrison is that way by all means, so please do not let a few good and bad experiences define your entire 501st Legion experience as a whole. Most of the time, these groups also do host armor parties, and also most of the time they will let prospective members come in and build their costumes on the spot. I have literally seen members get approved at armor parties. You'll be kind of doing this and the previous step at the same exact time. Gathering information on these costumes can be incredibly stressful, but I promise you it'll be so much better off if you end up going through with the research and buying the proper parts instead of ending up with some crappy part that will give you more of a headache than it's worth. What I suggest, and I do this every single time I build a new costume, is take the CRL from the 501st website and take every single costume piece and just create a list. Once you have a skeleton type plan for your costume, you can then scout out parts and then compare prices and go from there. From here, this is where it can get scary. You have a few different options for pursuing parts. My first and number one suggestion would be to go to Facebook and check out and see if your costume has any specific specific groups dedicated to building that costume. I know that this is not super common, but this is the only option that I used when it came to building Darth Vader. I did not touch the forums at all. My character, Darth Vader, has multiple build groups. This character is a very popular one, therefore this isn't always a luxury that other costumes have. When I had made my parts list, I had literally just scoured the Facebook groups and I found Vaders that I liked, and I literally just asked them straight up what their parts list was. It was literally that simple. Now I definitely understand that this could have been dangerous. I just got incredibly lucky to find a group of guys that genuinely knew what the hell they were talking about. But what I can say, at least what I would do in the future, I would talk to multiple people. I would compare prices, compare vendors, and see what works best for you. Most of the Legion's forums are archaic and incredibly annoying to navigate, but if you can figure them out, there is decades worth of research that is incredibly helpful. Oddly, some of the sailors also only do runs in the forums exclusively. I'm not sure why, but it is what it is. Once you are confident in a parts list and you have a proper skeleton set up, order away. Sometimes these items will show up in a week, sometimes these items will be waitlisted for 9 months. It varies. Also, be prepared. Some of these shops are really small shops, and the people that you're ordering from are literally one-man operations. That's why the Facebook groups and the forums are so incredibly important, because community trust and reliability are some of the only reasons that these guys even stay in business. The Facebook groups and the forums can teach you who to avoid and where to go. And unfortunately, there's a lot of really bad vendors out there. I also have to warn you that especially with some of these smaller shops, these vendors will give you deadlines, and quite often, they won't meet them. Make sure that you protect yourself in anything that you purchase. I would highly suggest using PayPal goods and services because it gives protection for both the buyer and the seller. But even if it's not through PayPal or it's through a website or Etsy, make sure that you are paying in a secure fashion. And make sure that the vendor that you're ordering from has a good reputation. With this stage, we are close to the end, or unfortunately for a lot of costumes, sometimes it's the longest phase. Whether or not you decided to build or buy, this phase can be an incredibly stressful one. I would strongly suggest that this is where you really employ local help. Whether it's armor parties or someone that already has the same costume as you, please do not hesitate to ask questions. Unfortunately, some people may be more receptive than others. That's just life. Don't get discouraged by it. Not everyone is in a social mood 24/7. And one person's inability to be helpful is not reflective of the entire club or even just your local group. People are different. That's just life. When it comes to getting your parts fixed up, fitted to you, and ready to go, please only do what you can handle. Understand that the cost of these pieces is unfortunately quite expensive, and you could damage your own costume by doing something that you yourself aren't really that comfortable doing. Sometimes paying a tailor or having someone else cut your armor pieces. It is incredibly important to make sure that you are going about this in the utmost careful way. Sometimes paying a tailor or having someone else cut your armor pieces. It is incredibly important to make sure that you are patient, but also respectful of the cost that it takes to make these costumes. You also need to make sure that the costume is fitting you properly. Sometimes it may look different on screen than it would on you. There is a weird gray area. A quick example of that is Tamora Morrison's Jango Fett armor. It looks different on me because I'm a 6'4" man. Tamora Morrison, as far as I'm aware at the time of filming Attack of the Clones, was 5'7", 5'8". So just in our case alone, armor is going to look a little bit different. You also have to make sure that if there are any comfortability issues while wearing the costume, make sure that you get that fixed before you troop long term. After it's all done and you believe it's ready to go, send it in for approval. And best of luck. Congratulations! Now that you've been approved, make sure that you get your first troop scheduled. Once you've been approved, also make sure that you go to the forums and sign up for every single detachment or group that you're a part of. I never really did this when I first joined, so I missed out on a lot of cool merchandise that I could have bought and collected over the years. And if you ever get really bored, you can tune in to some of the arguments and discussions that are happening on the 501st forums. Some of them, admittedly, are pretty hilarious, and I always find myself shocked at what people are spending their time with getting that heated about. You'd be really surprised at the level of care that Star Wars fans have over objectively nothing. If you have any questions about the contents of this video or the 501st Legions as a whole, please do not be afraid to reach out in the comment section. I will do my best to respond to everything, or if I don't, there's more than likely a 501st member that would be happy to point you in the right direction. If you're curious about what an average 501st troop looks like, I've got vlogs that can show that to you. If you're curious about what an average troop looks like, I have vlogs that can give you a little bit of insight on what that experience is like. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.